Thank you. I wanted to develop two fundamental ideas. First of all, happiness is something that comes from inside us. And second, it's possible to educate for happiness. And to begin with, I'd like to pose you a simple question. Please think about the education you received when you were children or youth. Did it teach you to be happy? Did it teach you to appreciate all the wonderful things that life offers every day? Be careful, because the answer probably is not a simple yes or no. But in general, when I pose this question to teachers, they usually say that the education we received didn't teach us how to be happy, or if yes, it didn't make it as systematically as with the rest of learning. So we have here a great contradiction. It's supposed that schools prepare us for life, but they forget the most important thing, how to be happy. It's true that education has changed over recent decades, but happiness still remains a forgotten subject, or at least not too much worked in the classrooms. During the last 13 years, a new branch has emerged within psychology. It's called Positive Psychology and currently constitutes an important stream, well-founded in sound science and with a strong support worldwide from the scientific community. Positive psychology is defined as the scientific study of optimal human functioning. We could say that it's a science of well-being or happiness, and nowadays it's been applied in many different areas: health, education, human organizations, and so on. As regards to education, the application of positive psychology in this field constitutes what is known as positive education. Today, I want to focus on this emergent field. I do believe that education is the most important way to achieve and to foster happiness in all persons. For several years, I have been leading a team of educators whose main objective is to promote positive education in Spain. We are working specifically on two elements based on positive psychology: mindfulness and the education of character strengths. I'm going to describe in detail these two elements, but first of all, I'd like to speak a little about happiness. It's important to clarify some aspects because depending on how we understand the nature of happiness, we are going to develop our educational efforts in one sense or another. Well, in scientific circles, there is a controversy about which term is more suitable, happiness or well-being. I must warn you that we have decided to use the term happiness. It's more natural in our colloquial language, and we don't find any problem in using it, but always specifying what we understand by happiness and which are its concrete components. In our team, we use both expressions, happiness and well-being, as synonyms, although we prefer happiness. According to Sonia Lyubomirsky, we define happiness as the experience of joy, satisfaction, and positive well-being, combined with the feeling that our life is good, it makes sense, and is worth. I'll describe later the concrete elements that make up happiness. But what kind of happiness do we pursue? We base our work on the model described by Martin Seligman, recently reformulated, and in the latest tenets derived from positive psychology. Seligman has described 3 ways to happiness, recently completed with 2 new concepts: relationships and accomplishments, which together make up a flourishing life. I'd like to point out within this model the difference between externally and internally originated happiness. Seligman speaks about 3 fundamental levels of well-being. The first one is called the pleasant life, in which our well-being is originated basically from external causes that produce us positive feelings and emotions. Those pleasures are momentary and dependent on external circumstances. The second level is called the engaged life, and in it we look for happiness actively, deploying our character strengths. This produces emotions and gratifications that depends more on us, on our internal life, so that happiness is more under our control. The third level, the meaningful life, constitutes a step forward, finding meaning and purpose in our life, which produces a fulfilling life. We want to foster all those ways to happiness, but emphasizing our internal life, cultivating our inner being so that happiness depends more on us, on ourselves, than on external circumstances. And according to recent research, people who claim to be more satisfied are those who orient their lives toward the three ones, especially the engaged and the meaningful life. Do you remember the Russian nesting dolls, the matryoshkas? Well, the three types of happiness are like matryoshkas, the higher levels including the lower ones. So, the cultivation of our inner life is the most important resource to achieve well-being or happiness. According to the preceding reflections, I think that there are two fundamental components derived from positive psychology that could aid us to promote happiness in schools: mindfulness and the education of character strengths. Both can strengthen internally our children and youth to foster a true happiness firmly grounded in the inner life. We don't have enough time to conduct an intensive workshop on mindfulness. Nevertheless, I wanted not only to speak about mindfulness, but also to experience a little of it in order to illustrate how it can be worked in the classrooms. So let me begin with a practical exercise. Do we really live in the present moment? Please, I ask you to concentrate on that landscape and the background music that is going to sound. Try to forget all your concerns, simply focusing on the present, the here and the now. It only exists, the landscape and the music. Please try to enjoy and savor them. Have you had any problems to live in the present moment? If you are like me and most of people, probably the response will be yes. Buddhist masters usually say that our mind is like a monkey, always jumping from tree to tree. And it has a positive side because it keeps alive our curiosity and opens our mind. But the negative side is that we don't really live in the present, and therefore we don't have a full control of our behavior, and we don't savor the wonderful things of the present. It's important to take into account that mindfulness is not a simple set of relaxation techniques, but an overall attitude towards life. We can say that it's a lifestyle. We define mindfulness as a permanent attitude of consciousness and calm, and it has two fundamental objectives: to unmask automatic behaviors and to promote change and improvement in our lives. In recent years, several investigations have shown the positive effects of practicing mindfulness. We can highlight the following: an increase in concentration, a reduction of automatic behaviors, a better control of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, a deeper enjoyment of life and the present moment, and it can also produce neurobiological changes. Several investigations suggest that the continuous practice of mindfulness activates and strengthens various brain regions, especially the prefrontal cortex, responsible for integration of human behavior. Thus, mindfulness not only changes our behavior, but also our brain. Breathing is the easiest way to begin the practice of mindfulness. Our team has developed many proposals to practice it with children and youth. We have organized our proposals in 3 areas that we call breathing meditation, walking meditation, and mindfulness in everyday life. All these techniques can be applied with children and youth at schools, but in any case, it's essential that teachers have practiced them first. Furthermore, they are beneficial for both children and adults. Those are some of our 5-year-old children practicing mindfulness, in this case, diaphragmatic breathing. They help each other to be conscious of the abdominal movements, putting their hands on the abdomen of their classmate. It's wonderful to see their serious and concentrated faces while practicing this exercise. Really, children enjoy very much practicing mindfulness, and they take it very seriously. Now, I'm going to speak about the second main component of a good education for happiness, the education of character strengths. I think that the VIA classification developed by Peterson and Seligman is an excellent model for education, very suitable and applicable in educational settings. I cannot describe it in detail, but I want to underline some important aspects. For several years, a team of scholars led by Peterson and Seligman have been drawing up and refining a comprehensive model on character strengths, which could comprise a set of strengths valuable across times and cultures, and they have researched many traditions: Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Greek and Roman philosophy, Judeo-Christian and Islamic traditions, virtue catalogs derived from historical and contemporary sources, personality theories derived from modern psychology, studies on youth development, the philosophy of ethics, and so on. And as a result of all this work, these investigators discovered a set of 6 global virtues, which comprises a total of 24 character strengths that are common in most of times of culture and cultures, although with understandable differences and nuances. Character strengths are positive personality traits that shape the good character. They are defined as morally valued styles of thinking, feeling, and acting that contribute to a fulfilling life. This is the complete classification of character strengths according to Peterson and Seligman. In black color, you have the 6 virtues, and in gray, the 24 character strengths. Our team has established 3 ways to work the character strengths in the classrooms, what we call global proposals, specific proposals, and personalized plans. Global proposals constitute a background philosophy which should underlie and pervade all our work in the classrooms. It emphasizes especially teacher attitude and organizational and methodological models that are essential to foster engagement and good learning in schools. Specific proposals constitute the largest part of our work. We have designed a set of around 300 activities to develop the 24 character strengths addressed to children and youth between 3 and 18 years old. They can be carried out in tutorial hours and within most of subjects of the school curriculum. These activities are common for all students, but we must take into account that each student has a personal profile of strengths and specific necessities. Therefore, we have established a third way of work, the personalized plans with which they can work on their necessities. We are coming to the end, and I'd like to finish with a special advice. My dear friends, we cannot speak about positivity, love, gratitude, hope, or whatever human virtue if we haven't experienced it. So it's necessary to change first ourselves if we want to change the world. As educators, as teachers or parents, we need to be more positive, more mindful, and to develop more character strengths in us in order to be a good model and a reference for our children and youth. The future of happiness must be built in the present, in the here and the now. This is a joint task in which all of us, parents, educators, and society in general, must work together. Thank you very much.